What's going on, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, SimplyPops here, and Apple has finally revealed the anticipated, the long-awaited 16-inch MacBook Pro. Now, it looks pretty fantastic. I love everything that I see so far. I watched all the reviews, Marquez Brownlee. I even saw The Verge. I saw a couple of reviews I just seen, and it looks very, very promising. We have the escape key finally back on the MacBook Pro, which is good because a lot of people was demanding that. A lot of people wanted that. And Apple went backwards in terms of the keyboard, so it's a scissor mechanism instead of the butterfly mechanism. So similar to the 2015 MacBook Pro, which is a good thing. I think the 2015 MacBook Pro is still the best MacBook in my opinion. I might make a review video on that before the year ends. I don't know yet. If you guys want to see that, let me know down in the comments. And even the directional buttons on the keyboard is back to the original, T shape. And yeah, Apple is actually listening to the consumers. They went backwards. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's how it should be for all the products, like the headphone jack on the iPhone. Apple should bring back the SD card slot on the MacBook Pros, because cameras to this day, releasing in 2019, still has a SD card. So having an SD card slot on your MacBook is convenient instead of walking around with adapters and dongles. And the Touch ID sensor is an actual button. It actually can click and is separated from the touch bar. I think Apple should just get rid of the touch bar altogether and have back the function keys. Yeah, the touch bar just not really, I think it's a gimmick. It's good to have it, I guess. And Apple calling this the Magic Keyboard, similar to their Magic Keyboard series. Yeah, magic. And also, let's talk about that screen. So the display is a 16-inch. It is a little disappointing to not see this MacBook edge to edge like we see on the iPads, but they did shrink down the bezels, so I believe it's like 30% smaller bezels. So smaller bezels equal out to be more screen, and also the screen resolution has been increased, so you have more pixels. And that's one of the things that my MacBook kind of struggles, is the brightness. I feel like the screen is a little dull at max brightness, so having a 500 nits display on the 16-inch MacBook is a good look. There's also 28% more cooling, so it's going to be more airflow, so it's going to be a lot more efficient when it comes down to the cooling. A lot of people complain about that too on the previous generation, so hopefully it'd be less throttling. But one thing that is impressive is the sound quality. Now, I didn't hear it yet, just judging by the reviews and hearing the sound on the videos, which is not really a best way to hear, speakers. It sounds pretty good. It kind of sounds like a Bluetooth speaker built into your computer. But yeah, I'll have to listen to it in real life to understand. But the microphone quality has been improved too.
So everything you hear out of my mouth, including right now, is from the built-in microphone with this MacBook Pro.
But the video quality is not improved. I don't know if Apple should just get rid of the front-facing camera on the MacBook and just call it a day and make it all screen. I don't know, but then again, you have FaceTime, so I don't know. Who FaceTime on their Mac, man? I don't really FaceTime on my Mac, but it's good to have it. But let me know down in the comments down below. You think Apple should ditch the camera on the MacBook Pro series? I don't know. It might sound silly, but Apple like removing valuable things like the headphone jack and the USB-A and the SD card slot. So why not the face cam camera? I see Apple doing that. One thing that is really impressive is the storage. This thing can go all the way up to 8 terabytes of storage. So that is just insane. 8 terabytes of SSD. So the price is going to be savage. So the upgrade to the 8 terabyte of storage is going to cost you $2,200. And my TV just cut off. That is a lot of money. This computer is going to easily cost you 10 grand. Now the lithium ion battery is 100 watts. So 100 watts, that's like exactly where the FAA or the TSA, so it's TSA friendly still. But anything past that, so if it was 101, you cannot take your MacBook, on the plane. So yeah, so this is the max that we ever going to get on the MacBook Pro. So they might improve the chemistry of the battery. So throughout time, they might improve it through the chemistry. But anything above that 100 watts, that's it. That's just the limit. So you can get up to 11 hours on this MacBook Pro, which is a lot. And those 11 hours go quick. Once you're doing video editing, Photoshop work, Lightroom work, that 11 hours go by fast, trust me. And I gotta say, is it worth upgrading if you have a 2015 MacBook? Because I know a lot of people out there who still have the 2015. Is it worth upgrading to this? And honestly, I would say no, just because Apple is probably going to refresh the MacBook lineup. And that is basically it. That is the 16-inch MacBook Pro. The starting price is going to be $2,400. Now, that is not bad because the rumor prices were aiming towards $3,000. And as for the big boy, the top of the line, the high-end tier, that's going to cost you $2,800. So $2,800. And that is the 8-core processor. That is also going to get you 1 terabyte of SSD storage. And of course, you can configure it. Now, these are my recommended configurations if you're going to get this. Now, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a content creator. You know, I post pictures on Instagram. I use Lightroom, Photoshop, Illustrator. You name it, I pretty much use it. I really don't use InDesign too much or Dreamweaver too much, but I definitely mostly use Final Cut Pro and just a lot of pro apps. But for me, I'm upgrading the RAM. I'm upgrading the RAM to 32 gigabytes of RAM. That's going to cost you an additional $400. Also, I'm upgrading the storage to a 2 terabyte. And that is basically it. That's the only thing I'm upgrading. The processor is good enough. It's an i9 processor. It's 8 cores. And the graphics is good enough. I'm not really doing too much graphical stuff. So I'm not using Maya. I'm not using Cinema 4D. But if you're going to be doing those kind of things, you might want to upgrade the graphics too as well. But that's just for me. And the only reason why I want to upgrade the storage is because you cannot expand the storage in the future. And when you mess with pro applications like Photoshop, Final Cut Pro, stuff is only going to get bigger and bigger throughout time. I edit most of my videos in 4K, so you guys seeing this in 4K right now. And Photoshop, just the files just get big and big and big. So having a 2 terabyte for me, I think is the sweet spot. But for you, maybe 1 terabyte is good enough. It's best to get more storage as you can, because you cannot upgrade it later on. And same thing with the RAM. You know, especially if you use Google Chrome. If you use Google Chrome and use Final Cut and Photoshop, it's gonna eat up your RAM like it's nothing. So those 16 gigabytes is gonna go by. So I like to always upgrade the RAM. If you cannot afford the storage, if you can't dish out that additional $400 for the storage as well, I always recommend upgrading the RAM. Whatever you do, always upgrade the RAM. With the storage, you can always connect an external drive and get more storage that way, but you have to rely on that one drive, and if you get that drive, that is basically it. So, 1 terabyte is good. Try to just upgrade the RAM the much as you can. That's going to be $3,600. Anytime when I'm buying a laptop, you want to be able to have as much money as you can. I think buying a laptop, you got to have maybe at least $5,000 tucked in, because you want to get the best. You want to get the best of the best, because a laptop, for me, this is what I do. So having a very, very beefy computer is so critical for me. So will I be upgrading? No. And the reason being is because Apple is constantly always upgrading the MacBook Pros. I wouldn't be surprised that next month or maybe the spring event, they're going to upgrade the 13-inch to a 14-inch, doing the same treatment that they did with the 15-inch. Which, by the way, the 15-inch is the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. So the 15-inch is completely discontinued. Also, something tells me that Apple is going to redesign the MacBook Pro, the WWDC 20. So I think it's not around the corner, but by the time you turn around, June is going to be here, and you're going to see a brand new looking MacBook Pro. So I'm waiting for that redesign. That's the only thing. I hope Apple would bring back the glowing Apple logo that was in the 2015. And I know they're not going to bring back the ports. If they can, the only port that I really want them to bring back is that SD card slot. USB-A, I don't think is going to return. Even though they have it on the iMac Pro, they have Type-C and USB-A. And even on the Mac Pro, which is coming out in December, they have A and they have Type-C. So it's like, why not on the MacBook Pro? If you were to just order this with no configurations whatsoever, it's going to ship around November 15th through November 19th. So yeah, so that's around the corner. That's basically next week. And yeah, that is basically it. That is the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Let me know down in the comments down below what you guys think. Drop a like on this video. Help me out a bunch. And make sure you guys subscribe if you're new around here with notifications on. And thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.